Hey, how are you guys? This is Greg Ross. I'm an expert sales coach and trainer, and I'm here to present this course to you on demand for spin selling. Now, this is a fundamental spin selling course, so we're talking about fundamental skills, and this course will be applicable to you if you're a sales rep or if you're an XDR. XDR is the term I use for SDRs, ADRs, BDRs, anything that ends in a DR. So if that's you, this course should add a ton of value. Let's dive in. So I want to welcome you to the course, and I want to introduce myself. My name is Greg Ross. I've been a top sales trainer and coach, did sales training and coaching for Vista Equity Partners for their flagship portfolio company, and also have just trained many salespeople and XDRs. So during this course today, we're going to talk about spin selling. Spin selling may not be a term that is recognizable to you, especially if you just started your sales career, a few years ago, 5 years ago. This is a fundamental classic book that was written on sales. Okay, so there's a handful of books that represent the core pillars of everything that we do in sales today, right? And spin selling is one of those books. So if you have a sales library and you like to up your game and you want to read books written by thought leaders in the sales profession, and you want like one of the top 5 sales books of all time, then Spin Selling is a book that you need to read. So I'll include some, guidance later in the presentation so that you can find the book and you can actually download the audiobook and listen to it. And I would highly recommend that you do so. So let's talk about spin selling. What is spin? Spin is an acronym. It's a sales technique that was created to assist salespeople in asking good questions. So Neil Rackham, who's the author of Spin Selling, he didn't set out to write the book Spin Selling. They did a study of over 35,000 sales calls and really tried to understand what the sales reps were doing that was successful versus the sales reps who were not achieving success. What they found was that successful sales reps asked 4 fundamental types of questions: situation questions, that's the S; problem questions, that's the P; implication questions, that's the I; and need payoff questions, that's the N. Now, there's actually a couple of fundamental sales books that were written based off of this approach, right? They did a study, they listened to tens of thousands of sales calls, and based off of that research, they were able to find commonalities in top performers. This is the case when Spin Selling was written 30 years ago. This was the case when the Challenger sale was written during the recession that we had back in the late 2000s. We always try to understand what are the great sellers doing, and this is really one of those key themes. And it's as true today as it was 30 years ago. We're talking about fundamental sales best practices. So 4 types of questions. So why would you use the spin method? Why would you ask these 4 questions? Well, when you ask better discovery questions, it's going to help you understand the customer's needs more deeply, right? Which is a good thing. It's going to help uncover problems and implications that maybe the customer didn't even realize that they have, or they haven't fully recognized that. So that helps you to uncover challenges and pain that make the sale more compelling, and also do a great job of positioning you as a trusted advisor. They demonstrate how you as the seller can solve these problems. So using your products or services, how can you solve these challenges or problems that the customer is having, or the prospective customer? And then they also demonstrate value, and they build your brand as a trusted advisor, which is really critical. These days, where sales is basically, more streamlined and products are becoming commodities, really the salesperson is a differentiator. So what I try to teach my students to do is to be viewed as a trusted advisor, and in that way distinguish yourself as a salesperson. And if you can do that, then you can make your sales a lot more compelling. People love to work with a trusted advisor. They hate working with vendors. So a vendor is someone that you try to get the lowest possible price. You stack up against a million competitors. When you're a trusted advisor, you have something unique. You're an expert in your prospect's business. One of the ways to best demonstrate that you're an expert is by asking good questions. I always say, and I really believe that this is true, people will view you as an expert, and your credibility will be built by the questions you ask, not by the things that you say necessarily, the statements that you make or how you introduce yourself. But all things equal, if I ask really amazing questions, my credibility goes up and up with the buyers, and that's a really good thing. All right. So we're going to break down the SPIN acronym, and I'm just going to explain each one of these to you. The S stands for situation. So a situation question is designed to uncover, what are they doing right now? What's the current state? What's the current process? What's their current method for doing something, right? That situation question gives us an idea of what's being done currently. The P, the problem question, helps us identify, okay, is there a problem with the way that things are being done today? Hint, hint, if there's a problem, they're going to want to fix that, right? So that's where your solution comes into play. We call it a solution for a reason, because you're solving the problems of your buyers. The implication, the I, how does the problem that we've identified impact the customer, or what's the implication of that problem? Now, if implication is a $7 word and you're looking for a $3 word, you can change that out for impact. And that's usually what I do in my classes. And then the need payoff question, the N. How do we solve that problem, that challenge, and why is that valuable to the customer, to the prospect? So we're going to go into these deeper, but that's the basic breakdown of the SPIN acronym. Situation, problem, implication, need payoff. So let's talk about some examples of situation questions. Now, I like to think of situation questions as the W's. Who, what, where, when, right? So that's a really easy way for me to remember what situation questions are. So I'll give you an example of a who question. Who is responsible for reviewing this data today, and how are you measuring success? The what. What are the main objectives you're looking to achieve with your current system? Where. Where do you currently store this data, and how is it reviewed? And when. When did you last review your current processes, and what were the outcomes of that review? These are situation questions. I'm trying to determine what's the situation, what's being done today. I'm not necessarily digging for problems yet or for pain. I'm just trying to understand what's being done today and what's the current state. Hopefully that makes sense. Now we get to the problem, the P in the SPIN acronym. These are questions that you ask to identify, is there a problem? So I've written a few examples here on the screen. The first example, what challenges are you facing with your current system? That's a great question to ask to determine, is there a problem here or no, right? If there's no challenge, if there's no pain, you don't have anything to solve. And so selling them your solution becomes a little bit more difficult, right? I also like the question, what do you like and what do you not like about your current process? This gives them the opportunity to tell you things that are going well that they like. And we know that we should replicate that with our solution or preserve that, right? And then what they don't like about how things are going. So that question kind of helps them save face a little bit. What do you like about your current process, and what do you not like about it? Question number 2, problem question. Are there any issues with the way your current process handles certain tasks? Next problem question. What difficulties have you encountered with the recent changes to your workflow? And finally, what problems has your team experienced with the current process? So first we ask the situation question, right? Now we're asking questions to identify, is there a problem? These questions should be asked sequentially. So think of this as like the S, the situation question, being the top layer, right, of dirt. When you dig down through that, then you get to the P, the problem question. Now that you've identified there's a problem, we got to dig deeper, right? So you dig down deeper. Now the I, we need to understand the impact of that problem. And then the N, the need payoff. So think of it almost in that kind of a vertical way, like we're digging down deeper. All right, implication questions. So now we've uncovered the situation. We've identified that there's a problem. Now we want to find out, how is that problem impacting them? And why is that important? Because if we understand the impact of the problem, then we understand the value that our solution provides, right? So here's a few examples of implication questions. How does the delay in your current process affect your overall project timeline? Right? Again, we're looking for impact here. How's it impacting your overall project timeline? What impact do these issues have on your team's productivity? What are the consequences of these problems on your customer satisfaction? And how do these challenges affect your budget and financial goals for the organization? So again, we're just working our way down, right? We've uncovered a problem. Now we're trying to understand the impact. Now, when you're digging for pain and you're trying to understand the impact, there's 4 primary areas where you're going to find that. And those should tie to your value that you provide with your solution. Make more money. How does this inhibit their ability to make more money? How does this inhibit their ability to save money or for cost reduction? How does this inhibit their efficiency or hurt their efficiency? And then how does this create risk, right? Those are 4 areas where you want to dig and find if there's an impact there. Is it preventing them from making more money? Is it hurting their ability to save money because maybe they don't have visibility, they can't see the information? Is it causing them to be inefficient and costing them a lot of time and resources? Or is it introducing risk into their business processes? Those are all real pain points, and those are areas that you can solve real easily with your solution, hopefully, if it's valuable. Now, the need payoff, I like to split into 2. Okay, so let's talk about the need questions. This is where I want them to verbally tell me how much it would mean to them and confirm the need for a solution, right? So the need is like confirming that there's a need to solve it. The payoff question is like talking about how wonderful that's going to be when they're able to solve it, okay? So situation, problem, impact, and now do they need the problem solved? And how wonderful is it going to be when we solve that problem for them? So here's some examples of need questions. What would it mean for your team if we could resolve these issues quickly? What improvements are you looking for in your current system to better meet your needs? What specific outcomes are you hoping to achieve with the new solution we provide? And what are your top priorities for enhancing your current process? So those are all examples of need questions. Now we'll talk about payoff questions, right? What's the payoff to solving this challenge? How would solving this issue improve your team's efficiency and performance? How would addressing this problem impact your overall business growth and profitability? What benefits would you see if you could streamline this process? And how would resolving this issue enhance your customer's experience? So that's it, right? That's the process that we're working through as we go through the S, the P, the I, and the N of spin. We want to get them talking about the pain, them talking about the problem. So many times you see salespeople that do a great job of identifying a problem, and then they say, well, here's how we solve it. That's great, but it doesn't get them talking about the pain. And there's a psychological benefit to your sale and how compelling your sale is if you get the prospect actually telling you how painful it is, how much they need to solve this problem, and how wonderful it's going to be when they actually solve it using your solution, right? Okay. So here's an example of that in their own words, right? The seller, typical salesperson, says, that's a big problem for your team and must make it difficult to have visibility into your data, for example. He's telling them what the problem is. He's telling them how difficult it must be. They're going to sit there nodding their head, but they don't feel the pain, so it's not as compelling. Now, let's flip this. Let's see how the prospect answers one of our spin questions in a way that causes them to talk about how painful it is. I think this is a huge problem, and it's tough to see the big picture. We have to solve this quickly. So which one do you think is more powerful? Do you think it's more powerful when we, as the seller, tell people that there's a problem and tell them how painful it must be, or when the prospect actually tells us how painful it is and how much they need to solve it? Think about which one of those scenarios would cause your sale to be more compelling. I really hope that you said that the prospect putting it in their own words would make it more compelling. If you did, you're right. You're right on the money. Oh, okay. This is fun. So let me just move my video here for a second. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up against ChatGPT live on this training session, and I'm going to role play and spin selling questions with ChatGPT. And I want to show you this because this is like a freebie for you guys. All you have to do is read this prompt that I've put here on the screen to ChatGPT. Now, what I like to do is I download an app called ChatGPT Voice that actually talks to you out loud, right? This is different from the ChatGPT that you type prompts into. So go to your phone, go to your tablet, download the app, ChatGPT Voice, and I want you to read this prompt to ChatGPT. When you do that, it'll be ready to role play with you. So I'm going to actually show you how this works, and then we're going to role play with ChatGPT, okay? Here we go. Let's see if I can do this without messing it up live on a training course. I'd like to role play with you. Let me practice asking you discovery questions using the spin selling model as described in the book Spin Selling by Neil Rackham. You'll be the prospect and I'll be the seller. For the purpose of this role play, you'll be an owner, CEO at a specialized nursing facility, and I'll be asking you questions about your pharmacy spend.
Got it. I'm ready when you are. Go ahead and start with your questions.
How are you managing your pharmacy spend today?
We manage our pharmacy spend using a mix of internal spreadsheets and regular reviews with our pharmacy suppliers. We also rely on monthly expense reports to keep track of our spending.
That's great. Are there any challenges or problems with the way that you're doing that today?
Yes, there are a few challenges. The process is quite manual and time consuming, which can lead to errors. Also, it's hard to get a real-time view of our spending, which sometimes causes delays in decision making.
So, what's the impact to your organization that's being caused by these delays in decision making, the errors, the lack of accuracy?
The impact is significant. Delays in decision making can lead to missed opportunities for cost savings and better pricing negotiations. Errors and lack of accuracy can result in overspending, budget overruns, and a general inefficiency that affects our overall financial health.
Wow, that sounds serious. So, I understand that this is costing you a lot of money. Would you say that this is a top priority, that you have a need to solve this problem urgently?
Yes, I would say it's a top priority. Solving this problem would not only save us money, but also improve our operational efficiency and allow us to focus more on patient care rather than administrative issues.
Yeah, and I think patient care is what you set out to do, right? That has to be the primary focus of your organization.
Absolutely. Patient care is at the core of our mission. Anything that helps streamline our processes and reduce administrative burdens allows us to dedicate more resources and attention to our patients.
So, if I were to show you how our software can help you better manage your pharmacy spend by reducing inaccuracies, eliminating areas of cost overspend, and helping you to focus more on your patients, would that be something that would be of interest to you?
Yes, that would definitely be of interest. Anything that can help us manage our pharmacy spend more effectively and allow us to focus more on patient care would be very valuable to our organization.
Great. I just took a note of that. And when I transition to the demonstration of our software, that's going to be the first thing that I show you how to do.
Sounds like a solid plan. I'm looking forward to seeing how your software can address these issues.
All right. I'm going to disengage the chat GPT. So you hear it's actually pretty effective for a role play. Now, did you pay attention to my questioning? Did you hear me ask the situation question? Right? How are you managing your pharmacy spend today? And you heard his answer, right? He's basically handling that, and he outlined his process. I asked him if there were any problems or challenges with the way that he's doing it today. He said that there were, that they had inaccuracies. It was difficult to manage, right? It was costing them a lot of time. Then I asked him about the impact or the implication. How is that impacting his team, right? We learned that it's costing them, money, and also taking their focus off of patient care, which is their top priority. So that's the S, the situation, the P, the problem, and the I, the impact. You see what I'm doing here? We're just digging down into next level questions. Now, I confirmed with them. I said, it sounds like you have a need to better manage your pharmacy spend, to make it more accurate and to eliminate cost overspend and to put the focus back on your patients. And he confirmed, yes, that's right. This is a top priority for us. And then, so that's the need question. And then I asked the payoff question. Well, what would it mean to you if we were able to solve that using our software to help you be more accurate, reduce overspend, and put the focus back on your patients? And he said, that would be fantastic, right? So I literally worked my way through SPIN. Now, listen, guys, the first time you do this, it's going to be tough because you have to kind of organize your thoughts. So what I recommend is that you actually take some time to prepare. And I've outlined a few steps for you to do that. Let me just get back over in the corner here. So here's what I recommend doing. I'm going to include a link to this video in the description below, and I want you to watch it. This is an interview with Professor Neil Rackham. It's not long, it's like 5 minutes, but he talks about the importance of spin selling and how relevant it is for today. And I just want you to, I think it's cool to hear it in his own words and to see him talking about it, to know that this is one of the founding fathers of sales best practices. It's just really, really cool to see. Then I'm putting a link in the description below for the audiobook on Audible for spin selling. I would highly recommend that you purchase it and listen to it. This is going to really change your life in sales. And then I want you to spend 15 minutes creating 3 rounds of spin questions. I want you to think about the value that your solution provides, right? What challenges you're able to find or have been able to find in the past that made your sale more compelling, that made your solution more valuable to the buyer. And I want you to reverse engineer that and come up with 3 lines of questioning, 3 keys, 3 topics that are going to open each one of those doors and get them talking in their own words about challenges that you suspect they're having. The problem that they're having, the impact or the implication on their business, and then get them talking about how they need to solve it urgently and how wonderful it's going to be when you're able to solve it with their solution. So I want you to actually write an S, a P, an I, an N, and then I want you to have 3 rounds, I call them rounds, of spin questions from S, P, I, N, all the way through. And I want you to focus on 3 areas that you think are really going to move your sale. Deal? Sounds good. All right, so let me just go to my next slide here. That's it for today's course. I want to thank you for taking the time to join me. This was really great to spend a little bit of time in spin selling. And this is really like a fundamental best practice that you need to learn to up your sales game. And when you get really good at working your way through these questions sequentially, you can do it by memory, just like I did. And it actually creates such a robust discovery process in your sales conversations. You get them talking about pain, about challenges. You're able to so much easier connect the value of your solution, your product, your services to what they're struggling with as a true solution. And it will position you as a trusted advisor, which is the name of the game. Thank you so much, team, for spending time with me today. And I look forward to seeing your 3 rounds of spin questions drafted out and ready to go. Make it a great day.